The moon was out, half covered by the clouds. The night was calm, a kind before the biggest storm rolls. And soon enough, the news came in. Phones rang, chaos spread, people ran. The storm was here, but in the shape of a fire. It wasn't just the smell of smoke that hung heavy in the air that evening. It was what the smoke meant. Port 9 was gone, burned down to ashes. A huge fire lit in the dead of the night. No survivors, no security left to question. Half the inventory turned to ashes, and with it, weeks of planning, millions in value, were gone. But worse, the shipment was supposed to take place tomorrow. Tomorrow, of all days, it had to be burned tonight. Jungkook stood at the head of a long wall table, shirt rolled up to his elbows, chest rising and falling like a storm barely bottled. Rain lashed the windows outside. Never once in his life a deal went strong. Never once. This was a stain to his name. His hand was still bleeding. He had punched the mirror 10 minutes ago. No one said a word. They had seen him furious before. He had screamed orders to find out the rat behind the fire, but that was not going to fix the inventory. They knew it well. The guards positioned at their spots like steel glued to the ground. They received news that the dealers were going to come for a meeting and demand answers for their shipment, but they were not going to tell Jungkook that. None was daring enough. Until she arrived. Wine, Jungkook's personal maid, entered through his office door as if the other side of it didn't just give you a glimpse of hell and beyond. She didn't speak, just moved to the sideboard, picked up a fresh glass, and gracefully poured his whiskey. She placed it by his hand like she had done it every day since the beginning of time. And Jungkook, his trembling hand filled with anger and blood, never touched the glass. It only reached out for her. He pulled her on his lap and dug his face in her neck. His body was burning, his grip tight against her, his breath hot. When it hit her neck and his hands, they slipped under her shirt and slid up against her back, painting her soft skin in red, the color of death and love. Jungkook, you drive me insane. You make me feel things I'd rather kill off. He breathed off. She swallowed, hand sliding up to the rest of his neck. His heartbeat was racing, wild, erratic, but she was the calm inside his storm, always. Just how, until a moment ago, he was drawn in anger, he couldn't think straight, but now he could finally feel the haze clearing up. And that's how he knew he needed her. She was the drugs to his addiction, a kind he would die without. Jungkook, you'll be my wife. No matter how long it takes, no matter who I have to bury. He said, like he had done it 100 times before. She was his. It was an unspoken fact everyone knew around here. He studied her like he was memorizing her face for the thousandth time. Then his hands moved up her spine, gripping the back of her neck gently, forehead resting against hers. Jungkook, you're mine, Moyen, and I don't share what's mine. With that, their lips joined. Moyen arched her back at his touch, burning against her back. She gripped on his shirt tightly as he devoured her like a beast hungry for control. A few minutes later, the buyers arrived. Jungkook's brain was finally back in control. Calm, composed, everything was handled as soon as he was back. That was it. Mafia who stood at the top with his tactics and ruthlessness, but when he lost it, that's where she entered, and so they were the power. A power none could go against. Rafal Cruz and his right hand man, Miguel, the Cruz cartel, had flown from America to Korea just in time to finalize the arms deal. It was supposed to be smooth. Now they wanted answers. Why were they returning to their inventory burned down to ashes? They entered the room and with arrogance too big for the situation. They saw the guards, saw the tension, saw Jungkook at the head of the table. Ah, were they the first one to finally get an upper hand against Jungkook? Rafal. Rough night? Jungkook. The shipment will be replaced within 72 hours. He cut to the chase. Miguel. With what chips? You think we'll just wait with your dog burns to ash? Silence, the kind that only came before a man disappeared. Jungkook wasn't playing or bluffing. If he said he was fixing the loss worth of 3 weeks within 72 hours, then he meant it. Jungkook, with that, let's sort out the other matter on the hand as well. He tossed a file. File, once the file opened, it drained blood out of his skin. It had pictures. Jungkook, that's you, Miguel, right? But my intel says you're coming directly from the plane to my villa. So why are you in these pictures? Clicked at my port right before it caught fire. Miguel, and you're going to use such a weak clue to pin the blame on me? Jungkook, no. That's why I've given you time. 72 hours should be enough for me to decide whether I'm replacing the shipment or burning down the crudes. Miguel slammed a hand on the table, dropping his cool. Miguel, how dare you? He screamed. Then Wine moved, only slightly. She reached across Jungkook, picked up a delicate cloth napkin, and handed it to Miguel with the sweetest expression on her face. Wine, there's a little something on your chin, she interrupted. Miguel froze, confused. He wiped. Nothing there. Still smiling, she added with a polite tilt of her head. Wine, must be drool. You've been running your mouth a lot. Miguel burnt in anger, but Jungkook's eyes only displayed pride. Wine blinked innocently. Wine, oh, was I rude? I'm just the maid. I don't really know how men like you expect to be spoken to. Rafal growled. Enough. We're not here for tease parties and games. 72 hours, John. If you fail to prove your claim, you're going to have to pay for it. They stood up and left. It was as all of the anger that was burning inside of Jungkook was reshifted to them instead. The port was gone, but the home withstood the storm and was now back to its calm, all due to this one woman who held the ultimate control.